welcome to another 31 Days of Horror 2020 video, and you'll notice Leslie's not here, and there's a couple of reasons for that. So this film was actually technically kind of her idea. She didn't want to watch another movie from my vast collection of stuff because she tends to not like any of them. So we decided, alright, let's look at something on Netflix. And so we picked something and we started watching it. And immediately she realized, hey, these people have accents. Oh man, it's a British film, isn't it? Yeah, it's a British film. I don't know what it is. She doesn't like subtitles. She doesn't like accents. Whatever. So she was a little bit turned off by that, but she continued on watching it. But as we progressed into the film, it started getting more like sci-fi-esque. And with that, the fact that it was British already, she kind of tuned out. So she sat there and it was on, but she never really paid attention. So even coming to the end, I don't think she even really knew what it was about. And that film is Await Further Instructions. It's a 2018-2019 film, depending. I think it was probably came out in 2018 in UK, but I think in North America probably didn't see it until 2019. I don't know. I could be wrong, but yeah. Runs about an hour and a half, standard. It's a sci-fi horror, kind of a mystery, a little bit of a thriller. Essentially, the story behind it is it's a family getting together for Christmas. And everything goes like really weird and bonkers when they kind of wake up, like so they're essentially put to sleep type thing. They wake up and find themselves trapped inside their house, and they start receiving messages through their television. Yeah, so I'll go through the people involved in the film before I go into it. It's directed by Johnny Kevorkian. Is that his real name? Really, Kevorkian? Yeah. Not much before this. He's done a couple of a few short films and one feature film called The Disappeared, which he was also the writer on, from 2008. So not exactly a veteran of the genre. The writer is Gavin Williams, and this is his only feature. Again, did some shorts, but this is the only feature. In terms of...
I'm back.
Oh, you're back? The family, we've got Nick.
Hey, I like hot noodles.
Okay, I will make you some food, okay, buddy?
You did?
No, I haven't. I will make it for you.
Hot noodles?
Kids. Yeah, as soon as I'm done this, I'll do it, okay? So, we got Nick, who is the son, and he's played by Sam Griffiths, who is probably one of the more noticeable actors in this for genre work. He was in the 2015 movie Howl. If you watch EastEnders, you know that great British soap opera, I guess you'd call it. He was in 8 episodes of that.
I'm gonna put cars over there.
He was also in Sacricide. His girlfriend,
Daddy?
I think Angie, played by Nirja Knight,
Daddy.
was in a couple of things. Well, she was in a few things, but in terms of stuff you might know, there was a Olivia Twist, kind of like Oliver Twist, but Olivia Twist. She was also in London's Finest. Again, all these people have a lot more under their belt if you watch a lot of British programming. So they've done a lot of British TV, whether it be, cameos in one episode of a thing, or multiple episodes, or even starring in some of them. But in terms of North America, not a lot of, stuff on their resumes. We got the mum Beth, played by Abigail Cruttenden. She was in the 1997 film Jane Eyre. She was in 6 episodes of the show Sharp, where I think she played Jane Sharp, I think was her name. She was in Sword of Honor and Charlotte Gray, and a bunch of other stuff. But again, most of the stuff you wouldn't recognize. The biggest person, I would say, in this film of note that you would most likely recognize right off the bat is the granddad. And that's played by David Bradley. He's got over 100 credits to his name, including starting off with The Frisco Kid. This Is Not a Love Song. Nicholas Nickleby. That was it got a big wide release. Exorcist The Beginning. He was in that. Lycanthropy. Hot Fuzz. The World's End. And he played Doctor Who in Adventures in Time and Space. But most people, I mean, his biggest, widest role is Mr. Filch in those Harry Potter movies that everybody knows about. But yeah, so he's a granddad. He's kind of
Can you help me with this?
So yeah, the film deals with a couple of things. So it deals with the son is bringing home his girlfriend for the first time, and of course she is of we'll say brown skin, and the family's all white, very, very white, traditional British, and she would be, I'm guessing, probably Indian in descent. And so there's a little bit of racial things going on there. You can only imagine. I'm not going to get into too much. And then, of course, you get this whole thing with this weird event that happens to them, and they start getting, information through their television, and that's the only place they're getting messages telling them what to do, batten down the hatches, wait for this, take this, blah blah blah. Oh, there's terrorists, blah blah blah. So obviously there's the whole them and us aspect of this new girlfriend. There's also the whole obeying your country wholeheartedly without even questioning them. And what comes first? Country, family, friends. So there's a whole aspect of the dynamic there that happens throughout this film. I personally enjoyed it. It was probably better than I thought it was going to be. Was it perfect? No. But I did like some of the stuff that was happening there. I did like the themes that they were touching on, and I did think they touched on them pretty well. Could they have done better sometimes? Sure. I mean, a lot of movies are like that, right? It's not perfect. It could have done better, but it did well enough to let me have some enjoyment out of it. It didn't end up being confusing. And yeah, I mean, one of the nice things was I didn't recognize most of the people in the film outside of one of them, even though I'm pretty sure I'd seen almost everybody in the movie in something. Doesn't mean I would recognize them or remember them. But I always like watching a film where there's a lot of fresh faces and there's not a lot of people I've seen before, so I don't have preconceived notions. So that was nice for me. Would I give it a recommend? I wouldn't say this is something you need to go out and search for and track down, but I think it's definitely an enjoyable watch. So if you can find it, on Netflix and you want to give it a watch, I don't think there's any reason not to. It does technically fall into Christmas horror, so if you're into that whole watching horror movies and Christmas and stuff and Christmas time, you can slot this in there and it'll work. And if you like your horror to be sci-fi-esque, definitely fits in there. It's if you like your conspiracy theories and Big Brother and race relation type things and family dynamics and the whole idea of a trapped group and the whole mental thing, you know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of movies that deal with that, right? Then this is definitely something that you'd probably enjoy. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably put it down the middle at like 2.5 out of 5. Again, like I said, you can watch it. It's not bad, but it's not great. It is what it is. And yeah, I mean, there are certain aspects of the film where you're just like, if you're like me, you kind of question a lot of things. So I think that's why I'm bringing it down a few notches. There's one, it's like anything. Like you ask the whys and the what ifs and the hows, right? Instead of just watching the movie and letting it play out. I unfortunately do that a lot, and it tends to maybe hinder my enjoyment of certain films. But at the same time, I think this was enjoyable enough, even with those aspects, that I still managed to go, okay, cool, I'd watch this again. And I think that's kind of the big thing that influences my giving a recommendation for the film is, would I watch it again? If I'd never watch it again, I might not recommend it at all. I might, but I most likely wouldn't. But this one, I would watch it again, and not just, because it's on and I have nothing else to watch. I'd actually, seek it out, especially for Christmas horror time. I'd watch it again, throw it on so that I get something that maybe less Christmassy, but still Christmas horror, right? Because it's family getting together for Christmas. Just saying. So, yeah, there's that. Let me know if you've seen the film. I don't know, I'll probably have put up a poster or something when I said the movie, because it was on Netflix, so I don't have anything to show you what it looks like. So yeah, it's called Await Further Instructions, and it's relatively new, but yeah, if you've seen the film, let me know down below. Keep it spoiler free as always. But I do love to hear from you, and I know this review really didn't give too much away, but that's kind of because of the nature of the film. I didn't, it's spoiler free, right? When I say spoiler free, I don't want to ruin anything about it, so I don't want to go over any gory details, any plot details that I think would be hinder your enjoyment of the film. So if you're watching this and going, but I still don't really get what the movie's about, sorry. I tried to explain things as well as possible without giving too much away. If you're gonna watch the trailer, only watch a little bit of the beginning, and if that kind of gets you, slightly interested, give it a shot. That's the best I can say. I have a problem with, I don't generally watch trailers before I watch a movie because they always tend to give too much away. Some of them give away the entire film. I'm not gonna lie. I've watched trailers where I was like, after watching the movie, going, that was the entire film. Outside of dialogue in between all those scenes, we now know what happens. So I honestly don't know if I only watched a little bit of the trailer after the fact, so I don't know if that's the case in this case, and there's probably multiple different trailers out there, but either way, yeah, again, 2.5 out of 5, but I still give it a recommend. Still worthwhile checking out because I enjoyed it, and really that's all you need to know, because hey, you take my word for things, right? Anyways, till next video, more 31 Days of Horror to come. Take care. Have a good one.